Yes, welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. Hey, a big congratulations to all of you. This continuing resolution, this massive spending bill, this omnibus is what it turned into. What do they call it in Washington? A Christmas tree, because everybody hangs their favorite ornament on it and hopefully it goes through. Well, it's dead on arrival now, and I'm giving all of you credit for that. Look, it was conservative media, people like me, others out there, started raising the alarm. You take it to the streets. And then what happens? If you think that these conservative lawmakers, or no, should I say Republican lawmakers, change their mind on this bill because they saw the ill of the bill, think again. They only changed their minds on this bill because you guys screamed and yelled about it, and they were worried about a primary challenge. That's the bottom line here, folks. So this bill is 1,500 pages long. Look at that. It doesn't need to be 1,500 pages long. It only has to be 1 page long. And I mean 1 page, okay? It's a very simple bill. Continue the spending as is. Nancy Pelosi, the Democrats, get a continuation of their outrageous spending in Washington through what I believe should be January 21st. Congress is sworn in on January 3rd. Why would we carry this out till March? But if you want to carry it out till March, fine. I'll give you that, Speaker Johnson. So this is the bill. 1 page. It's all it is. Making further continuing appropriations for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025. Section 1. This act may be cited as the Further Continuing Appropriations Act 2025. The Continuing Appropriations Act 2025 is amended by striking the date specified in Section 106.3 and inserting March 14th, 2025. You think you need 3 days to read that bill? You don't need 3 days to read that bill. You need 3 months to read the bill that you see on your screen next to me. So why can't lawmakers come through with 1 bill? Well, let's talk about why they can't. But before we do, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. As you know, I have a Patriot Mobile phone. I love it. America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They spend money every time you make a phone call. You know that some of that money is going to push conservative causes, whether it's in God We Trust signs in school, whether it's pushing conservative school board candidates, whether it's fighting to keep our congressional leaders accountable, whether it's having get-togethers across the country to raise money for these conservative causes. Patriot Mobile is there every step of the way. There's no reason not to be with Patriot Mobile. You choose what network you want to be on. So you're going to get the same service, okay? But what you even better get is 100% U.S.-based customer service. That's the best. You call up, they answer. Switching is so easy. Took me literally 10 minutes. Not even. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month service, or just call them at 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT. So 1 page for this bill. That's all it needs to be. Strike the date from December 20th and put in whatever you want. I would say January 21st. You can say March 14th, whatever it is, but no more Democrat giveaways. That was the tweet from President Trump. So let's look at some of these giveaways. This was really horrible. This was an independent journalist that found this out. This was a continuing resolution that would prevented Donald Trump's DOJ from investigating Congress. So this is if a subpoena is received by the House of Representatives, a House office, a court of competent jurisdiction shall quash or modify any legal process directed to the provider for a House office if compliance with the legal process would require the disclosure of House data. Now, to make that in simple legal terms, basically what the bill said was, we've got the central location for all the email data for the members of Congress. If you get a third-party subpoena sent to the officer who oversees all of that data for Congress, that data not only notifies the member of Congress, but it also instantly notifies a court, and by law, the court has to squash the subpoena coming in. Now, last I checked, email communications by members of Congress are open to freedom of information request. You shouldn't even need a subpoena for their email communications. You just have to ask for them. But this is about squashing what I believe will soon be a J6 investigation into who was responsible for leaking classified documents to the mainstream media. And I'm talking, of course, about Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, and others. Jamie Raskin may be one of them. So this is the type of thing that was in that bill. How about the pay raise? A pay raise in the bill? A 40% pay raise for members of Congress? So forget about the bill. Forget about how angry it makes you. What I want this bill to say to all of you is that this is the swamp at work. This bill signifies what they do in Washington, who they put first. And that, of course, is most certainly themselves. Well, Vivek Ramaswamy of the new DOJ office, Department of Government Accountability, said this.
Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money, but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you.
It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job. The reason I'm co-heading DOJ is I think we need outsiders to bring actual accountability to Washington, D.C. So feel free to call your congressman and let him know how you feel about it.
Oh, and you did, which is why I'm giving all of you the kudos. Listen, when we talk about Stinchfield's army, there is power here in our voices by calling up and saying, hey, we're going to primary your ass. You are now hereby put on notice that we don't want this. It's no coincidence that the members of Congress that come on my Real America's Voice show on a regular basis are all the members of Congress that were voting no on this from the very start. Right? You've got Tim Burchett. You've got Lauren Boebert. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene. You've got Andy Biggs. You got Ralph Norman. All of the usual suspects when it comes to making sure that our government tries to operate efficiently and doesn't spend money like it's going out of style. So unfortunately, though, we've got Washington that's run completely amok. Did you see this one? This was stuck in the bill. The Secretary of Health and Human Services shall make awards to establish or maintain as applicable not fewer than 12 regional biocontainment laboratories for the purposes of conducting biomedical research to support public health and medical preparedness. Biolabs? This is supposed to be a continuing resolution, meaning, okay, we're going to fund the government to get us to the point where we have the new government in place and President Trump in the Oval Office to make sure he approves of what's going on. That didn't happen at all. It was really quite despicable behavior.
Doing a quick update here before the local press tries to spin this. So the current rendition of the CR is actually being pulled from the floor. It's not even going to be coming to the floor for a vote because it was so bad and there was so much backlash, not just in Pinellas County, but across the country against it. So I just want to assure you that we will be getting the funding for FEMA. We will be getting the funding for Pinellas County tree nourishment and also SBA, but it's going to be coming in a different bill. And also to reassure you, we have a great working relationship with President Trump and this incoming administration. So have no fear. We will be providing all of the services to Pinellas County. If you still need help with FEMA, we'd be happy to assist that as well as any other member of Congress in regards to reopening your claims. But the current, again, rendition of this CR was terrible. It's going to be rewritten and we will be getting that funding.
All right. Again, it should be rewritten with one page to just continue the date. That's it. And if you can't come up with that, then January 3rd, a new Congress is sworn in. Shut the government down now. Don't even work. Go home for Christmas. Whatever. We've got a couple days vacation in there. Once you come up with a budget, people all get their back pay back. You know, essential services don't get shut down. So shut the government down. Who cares? I mean, honestly, shut it down. I don't understand why we're freaking out about the idea of shutting it down. So Congress gets sworn in on the 3rd. You could shut it down for 2 weeks. Now you're back in control. And now Democrats don't have any leverage. They think they have leverage on the debt ceiling. And I would offer this up to President Trump as well. President Trump doesn't want the debt ceiling raised on his watch. I don't blame him. It's Biden's spending that is forcing the debt ceiling up. In a perfect world, we would cut spending. The Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, they would find ways to cut, and we wouldn't have to raise the debt ceiling. But if you have to raise it, I would be a member of Congress that would vote no. But for President Trump, from a political standpoint, President Trump, most of America doesn't care. They don't see the reality of what it is. It's early enough in your term. If it has to be raised, then it gets raised on your watch. Don't worry too much about it, because we know it's going to have to get raised anyway. Now, I'd be voting no. Many of my conservatives would be voting no, but all the Democrats are going to vote yes. They're going to vote yes with you because they want their spending. And if they don't want it, you have that as a bargaining chip. You know, you have all the power, Mr. President. You have the Senate. You have the House. You have your pen. You can veto anything. So they're going to have to get on board. I wouldn't worry so much about the debt ceiling on this from President Trump's perspective. My goal, of course, would be to have Congress cut spending so much that you don't need to raise the debt ceiling. Senator John Kennedy was on Fox this morning.
Well, Lawrence, I saw what you saw. I mean, it's a multiple vehicle pileup. I knew as soon as I saw the bill there was going to be trouble. The thing was as big as a Costco, and Speaker Johnson had to add a lot of spending porn to get the Democrats on board. This can be fixed. Here's what, if I were king for a day, I'm not, and I don't aspire to be, here's what I'd do. First, I would tell everybody to take their meds. Number two, I think President Trump is going to have to consider coming to Washington. I mean, let's face it, he's the president now. It's not President Biden. President Trump needs to sit down with Mike Johnson and John Thune and come up with a new skinny CR. If the president wants to do something on the debt limit, we need to find out what it is and put it in the bill. And then the president's going to have to help Mike sell it in the House. Democrats are not in the House are not going to go along with it. Mike's problem, Speaker Johnson's problem, is that on the Republican side, he's got a bunch of free-range chickens. I'm not criticizing them, but they wander off, and Mike can't catch all of them by himself.
So can he be?
So the bottom line is, I'm criticizing free-range chickens. What I want are bold leaders, lions, that are willing to stand up and say, no, Speaker Johnson, he's got the majority. I know it's slim. I know it's a tough job. I don't want to hear it anymore. You said you'd give people time to read the bill. You come with 1,500 pages. That 1,500 pages, folks, this bill that you see here, do you know how long it would take to write that? This was not written in the last week. This was worked on. The I's were dotted. The T's were crossed. This idea of all kinds of craziness. Jesse Waters made a post with some of the craziness in it. It had $850,000 for a gay senior home, $15 million to pay for Egyptians' college tuitions, $400,000 for a gay activist group to teach elementary kids about being trans, $500,000 for a DEI zoo, $400K for a group to give clothes to teens to help them hide their gender. Not to mention $10 billion in brand new farm aid. Not to mention this global engagement center that was literally a Biden concoction aimed at censoring your speech, a organization that was so bad at stopping you from saying what you want to say that the Daily Wire and the Federalist had to sue them, and this is in Mike Johnson's spending bill? Continuing the global engagement center? Biolabs, disaster relief, all of it, anything you want, it was in it. Quite frankly, it's absolutely disgusting, including the pay raises for Congress. And what does Dickie Durbin have to say about the pay raises for Congress?
Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news. You know, what has it been, 10 years or 14 years of no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time something's done.
You support giving yourselves a pay raise?
How would I not know about a pay raise?
But I mean, people look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
And we're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?
Well, it's a slam to CNN. Funny, but that reporter is right. Public doesn't pay CNN. They pay them, and really, quite frankly, they don't deserve a pay raise as Americans are struggling as they've spent like drunken sailors, ruin us financially. Now President Trump is in this situation of trying to bail us out and rescue us thanks to the Democrats and Joe Biden. That's one reason why I'll tell you what, Bitcoin now, folks, is quite frankly, I think going to be a great investment. But if you don't like the wild swings, I've got a company for you. It's called NFN8. Get21now.com. The website is get21now.com because they're going to pay you 21% annualized on your investment, 21% annualized paid monthly direct deposited into your account. It's about Bitcoin mining. But think about the benefits of Bitcoin right now. President Trump has already said he's going to make Bitcoin part of the reserve currency of the United States. President Trump already has a Bitcoin office in place that he wants to put in place. He wants to get government overreach out of the way for Bitcoin, the exact opposite of Joe Biden. We know that Bitcoin now, investment banks are looking at as a viable commodity, okay? That's what it is. It's mined, and it is a commodity. Digital, but a commodity. Maybe you look at it as digital gold. Get21now.com. What is it? It's up over $100,000 now. It's not going anywhere. They mine this stuff at a rate far cheaper than it takes to produce it. And you make money off of this stuff without the wild swings. Get21now.com. Save up to get up to 21% annualized. And I'm telling you, folks, I know these guys. I've spoken with these guys. I have invested with them. They've lived up to every promise that they have told me. I urge you to talk to them, ask them the tough questions. But here's the thing. Call them back. If they call you, either answer the phone or call them back. They're very, very busy. It's a very popular investment right now, and they're being overloaded. But because you're Stinchfield's Army members, you got a special line to them. Get21now.com, get21now.com. All right. So you got Dickie Durbin, all of them. I had Eric Burleson on the program last night. This is a guy who is now burst onto the scene. And Freedom Caucus guy, I can't believe I didn't know who he was before all this. I'm glad I know him now, and I want to make him a regular fixture on the show. I thought I'd play this interview for you. This is as we're learning that the bill is just about dead.
It's great to be on.
Well, you do have some backup up there, but not a lot. Tell me what you think about this bill and where it stands now.
Oh, as I said before, I was caught when I was leaving the conference meeting. I couldn't believe my ears whenever I was hearing all the stuff that was being laid out in this package from a speaker who promised that he was never going to do a Christmas omnibus, that he was going to break that tradition. And yet he didn't even work with other members of Congress to draft it. He had his staff go in and negotiate with the staff of Hakeem Jeffries and other people. And we were all just finding out just then what was in the bill, what the staff negotiated. And it was an absolute dumpster fire, an absolute garbage, as people have now seen. You know, they waited until Wednesday night to release the text. And then we found it was 1,500 pages, 1,549 pages long. And there's so many little provisions in there that are big wins for Democrats. There was a big pharma win. I mean, big pharma is dancing in the streets for this bill because it goes after the pharmacy benefit managers that negotiate against pharmaceutical companies, try to bring prices down, and it kneecaps that effort. So big pharma can charge a lot more and make a lot more money. There's a lot of pork and boondoggles in this thing, and I'm so grateful for the American people and for Elon Musk and Ramaswamy and even President Trump for chiming in and calling this what it is, which is a piece of garbage. And I'm glad that it's not going to pass.
It seems to me, Congressman, that was really the difference maker here, that we had I'll call them the usual suspects, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Burchett, now yourself and Norman and all these guys, Andy Biggs, that say, hey, enough is enough here. As soon as President Trump says it, all of a sudden the bill's killed and everything's done. I mean, I'm glad he's back, but why do people not have a backbone up there without President Trump?
There's so few people that are up here for the right reason, sadly. A lot of people did not come up here to save this country. They don't have the political will to try to make the cuts that are necessary or to say no at times. And we need people that have the boldness to say no to all the reckless spending and all the requests. And it's not popular. Sometimes, I'll tell you, being up here and being part of the Freedom Caucus and somebody that votes the way I do and says what I say, I don't get invited to all the cool parties. I don't get, all the money showered on me from lobbyists on K Street. I'm not, that's not why I came up here. I came up here to save this country. And there are a handful of us like Marjorie and like Tim Burchett that are here for that reason. And what's great is we have a president that has the same attitude, and we have Elon and Vivek who are coming up that are going to have a stick, if you will. Their threat, that tweet that went out that Elon put out that said members who vote for this will be primaried or will not return in 2 years. That sent a chill through the halls of Congress, and it's exactly what's going to need to be done.
Well, certainly people took it seriously. So let's strategize here now, Congressman Burleson. What would you like to see happen between now and hopefully we can get you home for Christmas? What would you like to see happen?
Well, I'd love to see happen us pass the 12 appropriation bills, which is what our job was to do. But the Speaker and this system is designed to put everything into one package. So if he's going to do it, then I think that what they're working on is a clean continuing resolution. As Tim Burchett said, I still am not going to support a continuing resolution that's clean because you're extending all the horrific programs and expenditures that we currently have. But I think that's on the table for Johnson. That's what I understand they're exploring.
So I know President Trump, in his truth that he put out, also said, raise the debt ceiling. It surprised me. Now, his political maneuver is it's going to get raised, most likely. Raise it on Joe Biden's watch, not on his watch. But I'd love to use it as a tool to cut spending and not have to get to this debt ceiling again.
I agree, and I think that what we can do is in the reconciliation bill, that the first one that comes up. I think Trump politically is worried about the debt ceiling being raised because he's going to have to ask Democrats to help him get that done. And I think that he's worried about what Chuck Schumer is going to demand or get out of that. So if we can, I think Trump, his goal is to raise it now, but you can achieve the same thing if we can raise it in the reconciliation bill along with cuts, right? So if we're making significant cuts, if we're cutting the budget and significantly, then you're going to see conservatives like me, who I'm a fiscal conservative, and if we get significant spending, I might even vote for that.
Yeah. Look, it's about an end goal. Sometimes it's not pretty how you get there, but right now, the way Washington operates, there's no end goal, but totally bust, broke, down and out, and that's where our country's headed, which you think they'd get the message here. Last question for you. This issue with Speaker Johnson. I know the guy's a nice guy, right? But I don't think nice guys play well as Speaker of the House. You got to have some mean and grit to you. This isn't working. Where do you stand on Speaker Johnson?
I'm not gonna commit to how I'm gonna vote, but I will say I like him as an individual. I think he can do better. And I think that he's quick to learn from some of the mistakes that he's made, but he definitely can do better.
Yeah. Look, I'll give him this. It's not easy being Speaker of the House with a slim majority like this, but you make a few promises that are pretty darn easy to keep. Give you time to read the bill. Let's go to appropriations bills and these very simple things that can be done, and they're not happening. We'll keep an eye on it for you, though. Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson, I so appreciate you coming on. Thank you. I can't wait to get you back on soon, too.
Thank you. Anytime.
All right. So that is Missouri Congressman Eric Burleson. What a great guy, and somebody I'm very, very, very impressed with. And so as we talk about all of this, we know that something needs to be done. We know that we need strong fighters up there in Washington, and we're not getting them. I think at some point that is going to change. At least it needs to change. And I'm hopeful that it changes sometime soon. All right, folks, let me tell you about my friends over at Energized Health. Energized Health has changed my life around, and I'll tell you why it's changed my life. I am now hydrated at a cellular level. If you don't know what that is, I want you to go to Energized Health and do a little research there. But beyond that, they have helped me lose 15 pounds, which I lost in the first 2 weeks of going on this program. I've now kept it off, and I'm months and months past starting it. It was 88 days, the official program, that got me back in what I would consider some of the shape of my life. I'm 55 years old. I feel like I look pretty good. I'm healthy. My mind is sharper. My skin is better. I've lost visceral fat. I've gained muscle mass. Everything you try to do in your 40s, 50s as you get older, Energized Health has helped me do. EnergizedHealth.com/grant. If you want to take your life back, start January 2nd. We're coming up to the end of the year. Make it a New Year's resolution, but get with them today so you're ready to start rolling first of the year, okay? EnergizedHealth.com/grant. Do it today. I promise you, you will not regret it. EnergizedHealth.com/grant. All right, did you see this, folks? We have another caravan that is on the way. Yes, a caravan. This, folks, is close to the southern border of Mexico into Panama and going down into Central America. You've got 1,500 people here. 1,500 people. And they're excited to come to America. That, to me, folks, is completely unacceptable. So they're coming early because they know the border's going to be shut down. And Tom Homan is putting people already here on notice.
They are here in the country illegally. As you know, there's a lot of mixed status households in the United States. Do you plan to take both parents into custody if there are minor children in the house?
If you're in the country illegally and you got order of deportation, we're going to arrest you, we're going to detain you, we're going to remove you. If they have a U.S. citizen child, if they chose after they come to the country illegally and chose after been ordered removed to have a U.S. citizen child and think, okay, the court order doesn't mean anything anymore, the removal order doesn't mean anything anymore, then what kind of message we send into the whole world? Go ahead and cross the border illegally, which is a crime, ignore a judge's order of deportation, but have a baby, and you're fine. If we do that, then shut down the immigration court because the orders don't mean anything anymore and take the border patrol off the border. We can't send a message to the whole world that you can violate laws of this country and not leave as required by judge and have a U.S. citizen child. You're okay. That child can stay. They can stay with a relative. They can stay with the other parent, or they can take them with them. We don't deport U.S. citizens, but they put themselves in the position. We didn't.
Isn't it nice having a fresh view other than this crazy President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris opening the borders up, doing this global pact on migration, which is basically saying we're going to give away all our sovereignty. We're going to open our borders up and let them come on in. And then in the end, you get this total mass migration coming through, which is just insanity. I mean, when you look at it, we talked to Oscar Ramirez yesterday. He's been doing such great work on all of this. And you look at this and you say, this is inappropriate. We can't have this going on headed towards America. You're going to shut it down. And is Mexico going to shut it down? So I believe the tariffs are working in Mexico, or the threat of tariffs against Mexico, because the Mexican government has started to work with these to break them up. But we need to do a better job on our own border. And Mexico needs to do a better job. And I would offer up that the tariffs in Canada, the threat of tariffs, are working. Canada now has vowed to spend $1 billion on border security between the United States and Canada to protect the United States. That's because President Trump threatened tariffs. And now Justin Trudeau is being faced with having to step down. I mean, they want him out. His woke nonsense is just simply too much to bear. It really is. So as we look at all this and think about woke nonsense, I saw this woman, I believe she's in San Francisco. She's the weight czar in San Francisco. And if you want to see the hypocrisy of a weight czar, this is it.
CRFI. If you're like many women, you've been to a birthday party or a small office gathering, an event that's meant to bring people together. There's swinging tunes, some adult beverages, and good convo. And then it comes time to cut the cake, and someone decides to ruin everything.
Oh my God, that slice is huge. That slice is bigger than Beyonce's paycheck.
So you see what they're doing here? You got the overweight people who know nothing about being healthy, shaming people who says, you know what, give me a smaller piece of cake. I don't need that giant piece of cake. I'm one of those guys, by the way. So I'll eat cake, but I don't need to gorge myself full of it. So they're making fun of people, saying, oh, you shouldn't shame us overweight people into eating a smaller piece of cake because we want the big piece.
Can you cut me half of that?
A cake-related fat-phobic incident, or CRFI, is that moment when it's time to eat delicious cake and it's interrupted by a moralizing impulse. Inevitably, there's always someone at the party who has to declare publicly that their slice is too large, and that the person who's cutting the cake, almost invariably a woman, must do some disproportionate amount of labor in order to accommodate their need to feel superior.
It's not a need to feel superior. I think it's just a need to feel healthy. Do you know somebody actually produced this video? So they spend taxpayer money, is my assumption, on their weight czar, who's completely overweight, doesn't have a business being a weight czar, to tell us that we shouldn't shame people into eating less. Well, we're not shaming anybody. When I say I want a smaller piece, I just want a smaller piece. I could care less what size piece you eat. I really could. I could care less whether this person stuffs her face, which she clearly does. I could care less if you stuff your face with food. Go ahead, have at it. I'm not doing it. And if you feel bad about it, that's on you. They so want to blame everybody else for their problems. So now we're shaming them. I mean, this whole video, and of course, oh, it's a woman that's cutting the cake. It sums up the entire woke agenda.
Let's take a look.
Can you do a little bit, can you scrape all the frosting off and cut it in half and give me 2 forks, because I'm sharing. Small, a little bit more, tiny, no, less than what you're, smaller, please.
Could you just cut my piece into 12 equal symmetrical little pieces and put each one into a tiny little Tupperware so that I can have a bite for each month of 2018? Thanks.
Smaller.
Unbelievable. It really is. That's what we're up against in America. Everybody making excuses for themselves as they literally go on camera and they're crying about being fat shamed when they're literally overweight and they're going to kill themselves. Nobody's shaming you. They're just telling you you're going to die if you keep that up. All right, folks. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. I'm headed out of town for a little bit. We're going to go down to, Washington, D.C. South. We'll be in Palm Beach over the weekend. I'm looking forward to just take a little rest and relaxation, not even work related at all. I want every single one of you to enjoy your Christmas. It's imperative you do. One way you do that, too, by the way, is go and get one of these kits, okay? This is the Wellness Company kit. Where is my little thing here? twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT. I just ordered my field kit. There's a kit that's way bigger than this. And it's got a hard case, one of those Pelican cases. It's freaking badass, man. It really is. So I ordered my own field kit. I'm getting that. This is the starter kit. 8 prescription medications in here. The most common. There's amoxicillin, Z-Pak, you name it. What you need, including that guidebook in there you see in blue. Great, great, great stuff. This is about being prepared. Oh, we got a bird flu pandemic on the way. Don't worry about pandemics when you can treat it. Ivermectin is in here. That's been like the miracle drug for everything. So get your wellness company kit, twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT. You will not regret it. You will be prepared. And that is the goal, folks. It really is. All right. I appreciate all of you. I really do. GrantStinchfield.com. Stinchfield's Army rolls. We'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight. We'll have some live reports from the Turning Point AmFest out in Phoenix, which should be absolutely fabulous. So tune in for that tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Merry Christmas.